Thank you. And now we would like to move on to our second panelist, which will be introduced by my very eloquent partner in crime as well, Jerome Kimani. Jerome, I give the baton to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Our next panelist for today. Wow, this is getting hot. It's amazing. Our next panelist is a lady by the name of Sheila Mwathi. I'd like our SAA to share. Yes, awesome. Sheila Mwathi, she joined JKUAT Toastmasters in February 2018 and served as the Vice President of Membership for the period of January 2019 to June 2020. She was part of the instrumental team that pushed for the chartering of JKUAT Gavel and the recognition by the JKUAT admin. Meaning, if it wasn't for her and a group of amazing individuals, we wouldn't be here today. This partnership would not be existing. She's currently in her final semester of a degree in financial engineering and hopes to pursue a career as a financial analyst. Sheila is a feminist. Whoa. She loves to cook and considers herself an introvert, even though she enjoys meeting new people and going to new places. I'd like us all to just give her a round of applause and give her a warm welcome. And as we do that, I'd like to just ask her, the SAA, to pin her video, and then we can start. Thank you very much. Hi, Sheila.
Hi, Jerome. How are you?
I'm okay. So let's get into it. Just tell us about your public speaking journey in general and how you did all of these amazing things that have led us up to the point we are today. Take it away.
Thank you, Jerome. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. As some of you may know, my Toastmasters journey actually began because of my mother. She was in the Nairobi Toastmasters Club a few years back and somehow ended up being the VPPR. I say somehow because it's a bit ironic to put someone who is not very experienced in social media in a role that really requires a lot of social media expertise. So as you would expect, like many of us children do for our parents, I helped her in the technological department, which included just putting up posts on Facebook and the like. However, I can say that at the time I was not really interested in Toastmasters. I was just helping when needed, and then I would go on with my day without giving a second thought to Toastmasters. When I went back to school later on that year, she connected me with the then president of JKUAT Gavel. I believe this was Sami Ngoje, and he graciously gave me directions to the meeting venue. And I vividly recall my first meeting. It was a Wednesday evening, and I was rushing through the streets of JKUAT because I was already late, mostly because I was only going to attend that meeting to please my mother so that, I can just say I attended the meeting. So I really had no motivation to attend the meeting. When I reached SCC 006, there was a relatively small group of people, and I quickly proceeded to sit at the back so that I could easily sneak out if need arose. No sooner had I sat down than I was called for an impromptu speech where I only spoke for 40 seconds. And of these 40 seconds, most of it actually involved filler words and unnecessary pauses. In spite of the fright that was brought on by my being called on stage to speak on a topic that I had barely any knowledge about, I was very motivated to show up for the next meeting. That challenge of being able to speak so eloquently as I had heard others do that evening made me want to come back again and again so that I could get to their level. Ladies and gentlemen, I can say that 2 years on, I'm a lot better than I was that first night. Through Toastmasters, I have built my confidence and public speaking skills through the various meeting roles and even becoming the vice president membership later on. One of the best things about Toastmasters for me, I would say, is that there's a way you're pushed to challenge yourself to take bigger and bigger roles. I remember the first time I was asked to evaluate a speech by Bruna. He actually just told me, we want you to evaluate a speech. And my initial response to him was to tell him that I was not, quote unquote, qualified to do so. However, he told me to do it. And even though I thought I was very inarticulate and still a newbie, I just went ahead and did it. And of course, by doing it more and more times, I became better at it. From then on, I realized that Toastmasters is not really about choosing the best person to take on a role or to become a leader. It's about giving someone else who may not be as good at it the chance to become good at it or even the best at it. One of the selling points of Toastmasters is usually about networking. And I think as students, we tend to assume that we should only network with people already in the field. However, if you think about it as JKUAT Gavel and even Strathmore Gavel, we have a brilliant set of minds amongst us. And I believe many of us, actually all of us, will succeed in our respective career fields. Therefore, we really already have a network of individuals amongst us that, in a way that we can help each other in the future. Mm-hmm. So basically what I'm saying is, if this is your first time, maybe your second time, third time, or you're still deciding if you should join the club, I urge you to just join and aggressively take on the meeting roles and apply for leadership positions. And sooner rather than later, you'll see the fruits of your decision. Over to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thanks. Thank you. Thank you very much. I believe you guys can all see. When she said she's an introvert, there's a huge difference between how Nchiko answered his questions and how Sheila was so paused and composed. And I think on that point, I'd like to ask, as an introvert, and given that there are quite a few introverts probably on this call listening, what are maybe one or two things that you'd advise that they could, start implementing to improve this speech, this whole journey of public speaking? Because, it's a lot harder for introverts, but I mean, as Warren Buffett said, it's like the most important skill he ever learned. So as an introvert, what do you say?
I think to answer that, I would say that, for one, I don't know if they have this at Strathmore, the meeting, those cards that we have, that we write mini evaluations, even if you're not an evaluator. I think those cards, or that paper, basically, they were designed so that people can interact with each other, because you'll write your views on what someone spoke about or how they evaluated someone else. And then you're ideally supposed to go and give them. And through that, you're able to form a conversation with them. Yeah. Oh. So I think that's one of the ways that you could maybe improve your social skills or try and get to talk to more people. So just go and give someone, maybe you say, I liked this and this about your speech, or I like this and that about your evaluation. Also, applying for the leadership positions really helps, because, for example, I was a vice president membership, and of course, membership, you need to get people into the club. So you have to talk to people. Yeah. So by having that role, obviously I had now to learn how to try and persuade people to join the club. So I think that's what I can say about that.
Wow, that's amazing. So basically just, starting small, even if it's writing down your thoughts up, slowly building up and getting to get those big leadership positions. That sounds amazing. I believe that's very powerful. For somebody like me who's an extrovert, I think that's something I can also learn for myself. Now, I guess my penultimate question would be, since among the panelists, this distinguished panel, you're the only student, maybe tell us about, in maybe 1 minute, why as a student, why should I make time? If I have assignments, if I have projects, if I have presentations, why should I make time to actually come and start adding the pressure of learning a whole skill if it's only going to stress me, probably get me out of my comfort zone? So why should I do that?
I think, for one, you won't be a student forever. Even if you want to be, for example, in academia, as Nchiko said he wants to be, you really will never be a student forever, because at one point or another, we all need to make money for ourselves. And I think for us to make money, or for us to go out there and do what you need to do, you really have to sell yourself to the person that you want to do this with, or you want to do this for. For example, if you're being employed, you get into the interview room, you might be a couple of interviewees outside there, and many of you will have the similar qualifications, because in today's world, everyone has a degree, diploma, certificate, master's, everything. So you're all at the same level. It's until you reach there and you're really able to sell yourself to this person is when you can, how you'll distinguish yourself from these other people. So it's definitely very important for you to start developing the skills early, so that by the time you go out there, you're able to sell yourself and maybe get the position. Even if you don't want to be employed, maybe you want to become an entrepreneur, you'll probably need a sponsor or something of the sort. In the same way, you'll still have to convince the sponsor to invest in you. So definitely you'll need to have built on these skills and learned how to package yourself well and convince these other people. That's it.
Awesome. So that's you've convinced me. I think I even if I'm here, I think I'd actually be quite convinced now. I guess last question. This one you have 30 seconds only to answer. You said you loved cooking. So this is a bit of, I want to put you on the spot, kidogo. Would you rather cook every time anything you cook is amazing, or would you rather that anything you eat tastes amazing? So for example, like you cook anything and everyone loves it, or even if it's njahe, for example, that people hate, you taste it and it tastes amazing. What would you rather? 30 seconds.
I would rather actually just eat amazing food. Personally, I hate bland food. In fact, I always tell people when I was in Juja, I really preferred cooking for myself, because I always thought that buying food was, it was basic. I'm sorry to anyone who bought food in Juja or still buys food in Juja, but I found it very bland, and I really like my food to be spicy. I really like my food to be spicy and all that. So I prefer to eat good food. If people don't like my food, that's fine, but let me be eating good food. That's what I would prefer.
Awesome. Anyone in the group, anyone on the call, if you want to take her out, you know what to do. I've given you the answer. Sawa. Thank you very much, Sheila.